Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use.
Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. We sincerely hope your day has been filled with joy and promises fulfilled. Today we have coming to the mic Mavis A. Creagh, who is an advocate, survivor, inspirational leader, motivational speaker, mentor, entrepreneur, consultant, and best-selling author. Mavis is a contributing author to the bestsellers Trailblazers Who Lead and Courageous Enough to Launch, just released this year, and the soon-to-be-released anthology, Finally Free. She is here to tell us about her amazingly busy life as she fulfills her purpose to empower, enrich, and elevate women from all backgrounds. Welcome, Mavis.
Yes, welcome, Mavis.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here on today.
Oh, we're glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about how you got on this road as to what you're doing now.
I have a lot of different roles. I think of life as when you're born. It's kind of like you get in a car, and you have that purpose that God has given you. And sometimes you get in some wrecks along the way. But I have gotten back in my car, even if I had to patch it up to get where I am today. Currently, I serve as the executive director of R3SM, a nonprofit that was started after Hurricane Katrina. And our main focus is to repair and rebuild homes after disasters. I started out as a case manager about 12 years ago with the program. It was only supposed to be temporary, but as we know, what God says goes. So about 3 years ago, I became the executive director for the agency. We're doing some great things in our region and responding to disasters. Also, now I serve as the CEO also of We Women Ministries that started this year, which is a ministry to encourage women from different backgrounds to elevate them to their fullest potential and to bridge the gap between different women.
Oh, wow. You are a busy bee, to say the least. So tell us about the first organization, and what was the name of it again?
It's R3SM, and that stands for Recover, Rebuild, Restore Southeast Mississippi. With that organization, and the sign is behind me, we do a myriad of things for our community. Since our creation, we have rebuilt over 40 homes from the ground up. And the majority of those have been rebuilt within the last 3 years. Since 2017, we rebuilt almost 30 homes from the ground up with generous donations from our community, from volunteers. We have volunteers that come as far as Canada that do mission trips. So we're very thankful for our volunteers. They really are our heartbeat. A lot of times, people give thanks to corporations and big companies, but really oftentimes forget the little guys who really are on the ground, getting things done, civic organizations, churches, people of that nature that are just stepping up in the community every day. So that really is our, foundation, the volunteers for our organization. Right, currently we're covering over 10 counties in the southern Mississippi area to help rebuild after storms, and we're working on about 3 or 4 different disasters in some shape, fashion, or form. So besides the housing, we also do financial counseling. The case managers assist the clients with financial counseling, also economic development in those communities. So we're just not repairing a home, but we're also giving resources back to the families back in those communities as well. So I'm very honored and humbled to serve as the executive director for this agency.
Wow, what a blessing. What a blessing.
It is. And a lot of times when we go into the communities, we look at it, the people from the outside see it just as the home being destroyed. But when we go in, and as you know, most people, they have a lot of other things going on with their lives besides housing. There's poverty in certain communities, generational poverty. There's, just all kind of different things that are making the lives more stressful. So what we try to do is partner and get them the resources, even if it's outside of our agency, to help them live a more fulfilled life and to help them for generations to come. I know one lady told us that even if she worked every day of her life and saved her money, that she would have never been able to afford a new home for her family. Mm-hmm. And to look at it that way, that you're not just helping one person, but you're helping a family for generations to come, to have a safe, sanitary housing, but something that they can pass on to the future as well, really puts it into perspective.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that is really beautiful.
That's very lovely, because you're so right. There's so much else going on. It's not just the house. It's people have illnesses, families are already in disruption, and then to lose the roof over your head with no possibilities of being able to do it yourself. To have someone step up and step in really is such a blessing.
It is. And we're thankful for our partners as well. We could not do it alone. The foundation here, the Pinedale Foundation, has set up, funds specifically to receive donations from our community. Since the 17 tornado, they were able to raise and garner almost $1 million in donations that has went back into the community. Since 17, with volunteer labor and also with donated funding and grants, it's been over $5 million that have been put back into our community. So we don't take it lightly. It's no I in team. So we have a lot of wonderful partners. The Encore, the Methodist Conference, that have been doing disaster work for years, is one of our strongest partners. The Presbyterian and Lutherans really are great partners. So even though I'm the face before you, it's a lot of people that have that are continuously supporting us to get the work done in our community, faithfully, even if they're out of state or somewhere else in the world. It's people that want our communities to grow and develop, and so for that I am thankful.
Absolutely. So how do people, if they want to support your organization, how do they do so?
We do have a website, and you can check that out. It's www.r3sm.org. We do have an annual campaign that we do, the 301 Club. We also are housed in a beautiful historic house downtown, and the address for that is 301 Bushman Street in Hattiesburg. Our volunteer house, where the volunteers can come and stay, is a 10,000 square foot building that has been fully renovated with donations and volunteer labor. So our offices are housed here, but also is able to house up to 60 volunteers. It has full living quarters, a full dining room, a gathering room. Also is able to host small events, and also, community events for people in the community as well. So it's the 301 Club. You can sign up and do as low as $25 a month, or either $301 at one time, and that will support our efforts to rebuild and repair our communities. Also, we're on Facebook as well, but that is a way that you can directly donate to help support the efforts throughout our communities.
That is a blessing. And it's so wonderful when you see communities supporting communities. It's one thing when the federal government steps in. There's no love there. There's no connection. You know what I mean? But when you're in the community and you live with these people, you see these people all the time, you know exactly what their pains are. So this is definitely an awesome thing that you're doing. And I know God is definitely smiling down on you, and in terms of being that soldier to help these people who are less fortunate to be able to have a decent life, and which is what all people basically just want.
Yeah,
it is. And at one time I was I was talking to, people who were more well off, and I said that no one should have to live like an animal. And it really resonated because, even if people are at their lowest, even if you are at your lowest, you will still not want to live, less than a human. And so that's how I look at it, that if that were my father or my mother or my grandparent, or somebody that I knew that was in need, that I cared about, would I want them to live in conditions that were, not worthy of a human being. So when I look at it that way, I don't look at it like people as being numbers and just, trying to get funding or anything like that, because we're a nonprofit. We have a very skeleton staff, and and we're doing the best we can with what we get, but it's a big return because our focus is mission driven, which is to help the people. And I believe when you look at it that way, that God will still bless your efforts. Even on last year, we were able, to pay off the mortgage on our home, our volunteer house, which is nothing short of a miracle, to have a full community asset that belongs, to a nonprofit that is specifically for the community. It's nothing short of a miracle. So I'm very thankful for being able to even foster that part of it on our journey.
I think it's interesting too that you have volunteers. It's the volunteers who really drive a project like that.
It
and
is.
that they're willing to give their time and their work up. Some of them probably have to leave their jobs temporarily, or come up with other financial arrangements just to be able to do that. So that's very commendable.
And it's interesting that you say that about them raising the money, because most of the churches, just like if they were raising money to go overseas or to Brazil or Belize or somewhere to do a mission, overseas, they raise that money throughout the year to come, somewhere in the United States that they see that has a need. So they could be anywhere in the world, but they choose to serve here at home. And that's a sacrifice. So they're taking, a lot of time, even last year, somebody did a chili cook-off at their church, and the youth did a fundraiser with the youth department so some of the youth could come and volunteer. So I love our volunteers, and I'm especially elated when we have our youth that come in and volunteer. Even my son, he's a teenager now, he's 15, but he was one of our youngest volunteers and longest volunteers, because he started out at around age 3 volunteering with us, and he still volunteers until today. So I think it's important that the youth have that aspect of volunteering as well.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to ask, yes, when they're volunteering, do they also get to develop skills that they can use later on?
They do. That's one of the things that we try to highlight. We want them to have something that they can take away. We always want them to feel accomplished, even if it's something small to someone else. We don't want them to feel defeated in any way. So our construction manager, he is phenomenal. Mr. Darrell Lewis, he's been in the construction business. He's retired now, but he works with us graciously. But he's been doing rehab and construction and carpentry for over 40 years. So he has a wealth of knowledge on all different levels, but his main goal is for the volunteers to feel accomplished when they leave, for them not to feel defeated, for them to feel like they did something helpful for our community. So what he'll do is, if the best thing that the person can do is paint, or if they're good at tiling or cutting, and that's their best fit, then that's what he's going to put them on, and he's going to encourage them to do even better with that task. So if he sees something maybe out of their skill set or beyond their reach, or they're getting frustrated, he'll switch them to another task to learn on, because the goal is to have them to feel like they accomplished something positive while they're here. Mm-hmm. You don't want them to feel like they did nothing to help with the cause or help with the mission. So that's his goal, besides just putting them on task, but to specifically have them to learn and grow. We're even in the talks with one of the local community colleges about next year having a actual workforce and development program as well for students, for them to have on the job site training, for them to be volunteering actually in a program, and they'll get certification as well, and even recruiting people in the community who would like to have additional job training skills as well. So we're actually in the development stages with one of the community colleges to actually have a workforce and development program as well.
That is
Okay.
wonderful.
Excellent. That's really very fine. So I have one more question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Along the ways of, you helping them develop skills and help have self-confidence, do you feel that there are other non-tangibles that young volunteers receive from doing this type of work? A work that they're not getting paid for, it's their time, they have to put in their energy. What are the intangibles that they will take away that will be with them for life?
I'll just use my son and his friends who have been volunteering with us for years, even if, some of the old people saying volunteers from some time.
Yeah.
One of the intangibles is a sense of community. I think some younger adults lack that sense of community, the sense of looking out for your neighbor and helping out where you can, and not always expecting to get an immediate return when you do something good. And that's life, because if you're expecting just immediate return right now, sometimes you can miss out on a bigger blessing, a bigger fortune, a bigger favor, because you're ultimately just looking for, a coin or something right now without doing it with the right spirit. So I think that's the intangible, thing that you cannot get, just if you are on a regular job doing something, starting out as a teenager. But when you volunteer and give back, I think it's also a sense of pride in your community. And also to get a clear perspective on that everybody doesn't have the same opportunity issue, and to be thankful and grateful of, what you are blessed with, and to be humbled as well, to understand that at the drop of a hat, things and situations can change, and your whole life, what can be gone. Absolutely. And you can have nothing, and you can be without a job, you can be without a house, you can lose everything. And if you are on the other side, would you want somebody to help you? So I think it's really a humbling experience, if nothing else, for our youth. I'm
so glad that you said that, because that is always my thought about volunteering. It's humbling, and so I'm glad that you brought out that word. That's excellent. So I know Ida wants to go on and talk to you about, there's so many things. You're an advocate, we've heard about that. Mentor, we've heard about that. And an entrepreneur, consultant, but you're also an inspirational leader, motivational speaker, and best-selling author.
Yes.
So, Ida, take your pick of where you want to start.
It sounds so much grander on paper.
All right. Well, tell us about your entrepreneurship world. Just give us a little snippet.
Yes, actually, I just started this year. So it's hot off the presses with that part of it, as far as being on the entrepreneur side. I saw the need to assist women in need. A lot of times, I am a survivor of domestic abuse. Women don't have the needed resources available, and are not able to get the backing to get where they need to be. So I want to encourage them to, pick their lives up and to get their lives back together, and to be able to help them along their journey as well. Also, with the consulting part of it, I have learned a lot in the nonprofit world as far as grant management, development, project management. Even though I have a dress on today, I know a pretty good amount about construction, the project management side of it. At one time, I had to do a majority of that part of it with project management, and a lot of people who are going into that part of it as far as rebuilding houses, garnering funding and stuff, don't have the knowledge to provide that oversight. So as far as the entrepreneurial side of it, I am available to do the grant management, the funds management, and the project management on the nonprofit side of it in the development as well.
Wow.
And that's
something.
important. That's important because, I mean, once you get the money, it has to be managed so that you can get the most from it, the most use of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and some people, you know, even I want to help small churches as well, because a lot of them have the potential to grow their ministries and grow their outreach, but they don't know the way to go about it as far as you know, separating the part as far as the church funding and business, and also the outreach side of it, and how you need to develop that correctly and legally. So that is one of my aspirations as well, to assist smaller churches who do want to go into outreach or have a nonprofit started. So that is one of my hopes as well, to assist them in that effort.
So if people want to get involved with that aspect of you, how do they reach out to you for that?
You can reach me at maviscreaghmedia@gmail.com. Also on social media, on Facebook, Mavis Creagh, or LinkedIn as Mavis Creagh as well.
Okay. All right. Next one is you're being an author. Tell us about some of your books.
Yes, I'm very excited. This was my first year as being an author. So I hit the ground running. I had a fire lit up under me. So I started actually in mid 2020 and just hit the ground running. My first book that I was a part of was Trailblazers Who Lead, and this is and the Visionary was Kern Crockett Cherry. And in my chapter, I talk about triumph over tragedy, how even coming from, you know, tumultuous situations and challenges in life, how you can overcome, how you can move forward, and how you can not let it be like a stamp, you know, on your forehead or crippling to you. You know, sometimes when bad things happen, or even you make bad choices or bad decisions, some people let it hinder them for extended periods of time. But as we know, God is a forgiving God, and you can move forward from anything. And so I think a lot of people are not really honest on where they came from and what they have overcome. And I think if people were just more honest and transparent, then maybe we could help more people, especially women, move forward in their lives. So that's my chapter for Trailblazers Who Lead, and it's out as well as Unsung Heroes. And that's a group of about 20-something women who talk about their stories from life, from business, and how they were able to be trailblazers in their different walks of life. Also with Courageous Enough to Launch, that came out, I believe, in June. The visionary author is Dr. Cheryl Wood, and I talk about purposely position, being purposely positioned and moving past your pain, and how you can overcome different situations, not just in your life, your personal life, but also in business. Because even with me, like I said, I started out about 12 years ago as a caseworker. But even if sometimes when God is developing you, sometimes people don't see the visions. People don't, you know, because people are not used to seeing you and, you know, being elevated. Even though sometimes people don't believe in you, that does not mean that you can't move forward. So I just wanted to encourage people, not just on the personal side, but also the professional side, because some people might not see the vision that God has given you, but that does not mean you need to give up on your dream and your vision.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, it's not for them. It's for you. So they're never going to see it.
That's right. That's very true. That's very true.
They're never going to see it. So tell us about the new book that's coming out. And
well, actually, I have two more books that are coming out.
You just busy.
You are inspirational.
I think next year I might take a little break. But actually, at the beginning of December, finally, Breathe Again. I'm a part of a project with Dr. Obiama Martin. It's going to be coming out, and that's just about being, just letting the weight go of the past and moving forward, and how sometimes even when you are holding on to dead weights and stuff from previous situations, how it can cripple you from moving forward. So that book will be released at the beginning of December. The official launch, I think, is actually on Black Friday. So be tuned in to that as well. And finally, yes, ma'am. And finally, Free, the fourth project, will be released. Will be launched at the end of January 2021, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. I had I wasn't going to even sign up, and Miss Dawn Leak is the visionary author. She is phenomenal. She has a vision to drive people to do better, to excel, and to increase in their lives. So I just really grabbed a hold of her spark, and I wanted to be a part of such a wonderful project. In my chapter, and Finally Free, it really just talks about just letting go and moving forward and what that looks like. And, even when I was writing and God was giving me the words to say, I actually wrote it. I agreed to it one night, and then the next morning, God woke me up and I was in bed, and I was actually doing it on my notes on my phone, writing a chapter. And because I didn't even know what I was going to write, and I just was, whatever God was telling me. And when I read back over it, I said, wow, that's my story, my life. But it's more of a feeling, a sense, not just, the other chapters were kind of like, well, this is what happened and that's what happened. But it was more like a proclamation of where I am today and where God has taken me and where God is leading me. And that, even through, the depths and the valleys, that even God can release you to be finally free. So I'm very thankful and grateful about being a part of that project and what God is doing in this season, because every season is new. And so I just look at it as a newness, a freshness, a breath of fresh air that is that's been delivered by the Most High.
Yes. Oh wow. All of these visionaries, that books that you've been a part of, are some amazing women. I was in Cheryl Wood's anthology. What is it? It's slipping my mind. But anyway, I know her personally. She's an amazing woman. And I mean, it's just, you're just among some great folk. Let's just put it that way.
I'm truly, it's interesting because last year I was part of I went to the Success Conference for the first time last year here in Mississippi on the coast. And I was hearing about the different women and I didn't know who they were. And so like this year, I'm like, wow, I got a chance to meet some phenomenal women. But I think it was even sweeter because when I met them without a false pretense. I met them without
prior knowledge.
Nothing. I just looked at them for what the gift that God had in them and the work that He was doing through them. Yeah. So it was with fresh eyes.
Excellent.
When I met them, it was with fresh eyes and newness. And now that I look back at the pictures of the people that I met and the ones that were speaking, it just gives me even more of an appreciation where I am now. Yeah. Because sometimes when you look at people for the titles and how other people see them, you don't get a chance to listen. You don't get the fullness of it. And I'm so grateful, to be able to meet them like for the first time without the titles or anything else, and just to be able to listen to them, kind of like a listening, a child like on Christmas with excitement. So I'm just very thankful and humbled.
Yes. All of those women are so powerful, and I've been following them for many, many years. I've been in some of the events and things like that. So it's been, and I've watched them grow as well, in their journey. So it's amazing. And it's like, the way I see it is like minds come together. And that's so true, because everybody that I'm meeting through these anthologies and these books have some amazing stories. And with the work that Ruth and I do, we get to share that with people all around the world, which is a blessing in itself. And we definitely appreciate you and all of the things that you're doing to make a difference in the world, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. That is really what it's about. Mm-hmm. So again, did we miss anything?
I think we covered everything. There was a whole lot more, but I think we'll run out of time if we try to get through everything. So she'll just have to come back and visit again.
That's right. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are phenomenal. Thank y'all for the work that y'all are doing and the fortitude and faithfulness to y'all calling to the Most High. So just kudos to y'all and thank y'all and continue to work to shine a light in the world that's sometimes dark.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we wrap up, again, how do you tell people about your organization, how they can be a part of it, and how to get in touch with you?
For R3SM, Recovery Build Restore Southeast Mississippi, our website is www.r3sm.org. You can donate directly to our 301 Club, directly there. Also on social media, on Facebook, R3SM, Instagram and Twitter as well. You can find me on social media as well, Mavis Creagh, on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. You can message me or as well at maviscreaghmedia@gmail.com. I am an advocate. I do speak very candidly about my, trials and tribulations because I do want to help someone else in their journey. I am a domestic abuse survivor, so that is one of my callings as well. So reach out to me and I'll be glad to share because we want to touch people's lives and also save their lives in our journey. So thank you very much.
Well, thank
you.
It has been an honor. I truly, truly appreciate.
It's been an honor for you with me as well.
Okay.
Your business, through Just Minding My Business Media, has exposure on internet radio, major social media platforms, and now TV. Through Just Minding My Business, dynamic digital marketing platform. Don't listen to the word on the street. Hear it for yourself. Visit jmb.asistercircle.org to learn how you can take your business, your vision, to the next level. Thank you to the amazing women of A Sister Circle Empowerment Network, ASCEN LLC, and our media partners. Voiceovers by RCH VoiceWorks, for when you want to be heard. Call 443-620-4115.
Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford.
And I'm your co-host, Ruth Haskins.
We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.